you. Got the new exhaust fan going.
It's a lot quieter.
A lot quieter, looks a lot nicer, doesn't work worth the crap. Doesn't work nearly as good as the old crappy one.
Yeah. Well, while we're letting these things warm up and get ready, did you put in some beard oil today?
I sure did.
I did too.
Yeah, I changed the oil in the car the other day, so I just went ahead and dipped it down in the drain pan and
Oh,
it was oiled up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Didn't work so good.
No.
So you know what I did? I had to take a shower, I had to wash it out. I used that Chuck's Hog Wash, washed the beard out real good.
Yeah.
And then used some of my badass beard care oil in there today.
Mm-hmm.
It's got it all nice and clean and shiny and pretty.
Right.
I like that stuff a lot.
Yeah.
I do like it a lot. I use it every day.
Badass beard care is really, really good. Like I said, when I was trying to find somebody to work with, I went through at least 20, 25 before I finally picked one to actually contact. And apparently there was a divine intervention there because
Yeah.
this company, Badass Beard Care, has amazing product.
Mm-hmm.
They're all American, they're veteran owned, and they have good quality product.
Yeah.
And that says a lot because I have all kinds of different beard oils. And one thing I noticed when I put the beard oils and the waxes in and stuff like that, like your hands for hours feel like they had that on there.
Right.
But with their product, you wash your hands with soap and you don't have that feeling anymore.
I would agree.
Their
100%.
stuff actually washes off.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so clearly it's not, a bunch of chemicals and all that in there. It is just straight real oil. Really good stuff. I actually just got a new sample in too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I think I talked about it on the last podcast. So there was one, I couldn't remember the name of it. I knew it was Havana, but it's called Havana Haze. And it's now one of their just regular lineup. So it's not a special, like summer special kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But it's citrus, tobacco, and something else. And I don't remember. I don't remember the last one. It's three different, the scent profile. But it smells amazing. It's not over tobacco, so it's
Gotcha.
you're not smelling just tobacco leaves all day long.
Like I say, I generally smell like tobacco anyway. I come in here and smoke a cigar, and then I pretty much smell like tobacco.
Right. But yeah, Badass Beard Care. Check out their website. Go to their Facebook page. They always have a deal with their samples, so you can try different scents that you'd like to try. All you gotta do is pay shipping. I think it came out to like $3.85. So you get a beard oil, you get the beard balm, and Chuck's Hog Wash. And then you can choose if you want to do all three the same scent, that's fine, or you can choose different scents on each one.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man, here we are. We are in July, dude. Can you believe that?
I know, tomorrow's the 4th.
In July. It's just crazy. Absolutely nuts. Yeah, I know. I felt like I should be wearing some kind of... Dude, I got a new towel. It's Uncle Sam. And he's pointing the finger and he says, I want you. And on the bottom it says, to beer me. To beer me. I was like...
That's funny.
I bought it. I had to. I was like... I was thinking about hanging it up here on the wall just to have a nice backdrop. Yeah. All right, man. We're sitting here. We're finally getting a chance to relax. Very hot today.
Very hot.
Very muggy. Just very muggy.
Humid.
Very, very humid. So I'm sitting back now. I am drinking, just to start off with, I'm drinking root beer and Eagle Rare.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a splash of Eagle Rare. You know, I was going to go with beer like I normally do. Yes, we're a little early in the day yet. I don't know what I have planned for later on, so I thought, you know what? If I end up with a 24-ounce beer right now, I'm kind of a lightweight. I'll be sound asleep by the time we're done. So I was like, I'm going to go with something cold. I also wanted ice. I wanted something on ice that was going to be nice and cold. So root beer with a splash of Eagle Rare.
Yeah.
I am smoking the Oliva, the Milano, the V series. This is the Maduro, the Milano Maduro. This is, and that's why I almost went with beer.
Yeah.
Because it's Nicaraguan, Habano Nicaraguan long fillers, but the wrapper is Mexican San Andreas.
Okay.
And so I thought, well, you know, I've got some, they got some Modelo over there, and I thought, you know, I might drink a Modelo. Go with a little Mexican beer, a little with my Mexican San Andreas wrapper.
Right.
But you know, this is a darker cigar, and so I thought, you know what, the root beer actually, the root beer is going to go pretty well with it. So that's what I've got going on. I've just got the small Robusto.
Yeah. That's funny.
Box pressed.
Yeah.
That's about all I got to say about that. Well, a box pressed cigar, it just feels different when you're smoking on it.
It does. I've smoked one box press, and it has a very different feel if you're not used to it.
Most of your Padrones are box pressed.
Okay.
And that's all I smoked for a long, long time. If I was buying cigars, I bought Padrones. That's what I smoked. So I was so used to it. And then I got smoking, now that I smoke a bunch of different types of cigars, in all honesty, I found the Torpedo. Yeah. I kind of like that shape of a cigar. But I've gotten used to regular round cigars now. So when I do, every now and then when I do smoke a box press cigar, it's like, oh yeah, these feel kind of weird when you're smoking it. Only because they're kind of square.
Yeah.
What do you got going tonight?
Well,
it's pretty strong. I can smell it.
It is strong. So we got a Tatiana Groovy Blue. And it's generally more on the cheaper end. Tatianas are. I guess not real cheap. So basically a box of 25 is going to cost between $82 and $92.
Okay. So very affordable.
So yeah, they're affordable. They are the original flavored cigar. So I didn't know that. My wife, actually, this is her favorite cigar, is the Groovy Blue, so I stole one of hers. Just so that we could talk about it. It's, if you like flavor, Tatiana has flavor. So it punches a lot of flavor, but they're not cheap. Like, they're not cheaply made. They still make them very well. I forget, this is a Robusto. So the normal size that you would buy most Tatianas is the Corona. This one's a Robusto. It's a 5-inch 50 gauge with Dominican fillers, Dominican binder, and the wrapper's Indonesian.
Okay. And then that is infused, correct? That's flavor infused.
Yeah.
I know they smell fantastic.
Oh yeah, all the Tatianas put off a really good smell.
I just know because, like you said, your wife smokes these, and I know we've gotten together watching a football game or something like that, and she'll light one of those up. And, and I know she likes them, and I know they're good and they burn well because she smokes that thing down where she's got to get a roast clip to finish it out. You know what I mean?
I keep telling her to quit doing that because the next day she's like, I gotta quit doing that. I can't smoke cigars anymore. I'm like, don't smoke it all the way to the tip. You can smoke half the cigar and be fine.
Right. That's too funny.
But yeah, I just ordered a 5-pack of Tatianas because I've been wanting to try other flavors. So she always does the Groovy Blue. I like smoking it on occasion. It is very strong on the fruity flavor and all that. But they have a bunch of different flavors.
Now, is that a Drew Estates product, or are they separate from Drew Estates?
I believe they're their own.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think Drew Estates has anything to do with Tatiana. I might be wrong about that. I've never researched that. But I'm pretty sure they're on their own on that. But yeah, they've got a whole line of different flavors. The one I'm really interested in trying, I told you about it the other day, is the fall harvester or fall something. It's got pumpkin, apple, and brown sugar as the scent profile. I was like, it at least has to be interesting.
Right.
And I would assume it'd go really well with an apple cider or something like that in the fall. I was like, I gotta try it and see if it's worth buying a whole box of. Because most of the Tatianas are very hard to find singles. I did find, like, the 5-pack I bought is technically singles, but I bought it from Neptune Cigars down in Florida. And they're the only place I've seen that sells single Tatianas online. Because a lot of your local shops, when they carry Tatianas, they only carry like 2 or 3 flavors. They don't carry all, the wide range that they have.
I got you. I was going to say, I've gone to a brick and mortar, and I know I've seen them in some of the brick and mortars. Oh, you know what I was thinking of? I was thinking of the Deadwood.
Oh, yeah.
The Deadwood, the fat bottom girls.
Fat bottom Betty and the girl with no name. And,
yeah.
Yeah,
they're affiliated with Drew Estates. Because I do see those in the brick and mortars all the time.
Yeah.
I know those are huge sellers, but I have been in there's a brick and mortar, actually the one closer to your house.
Yeah.
They actually had some of those in there, because I wasn't familiar with them other than you guys.
Right.
And I saw it, I was like, oh, well, that's pretty convenient. Right around the corner from your house.
I know, I need to stop in there. I know when we go up to Greenwood, the Total Wine usually has, they always have Groovy Blue up there. So that's usually where we get hers from when we're just getting a few things.
Yeah.
And then they'll usually have rum, the rum flavored, what was the other? Caribbean Chill. And that one, I thought I would like that one, but it wasn't too good. It wasn't too good.
Got a better name than it does okay. And what are you pairing it with? What are you
doing? Oh, yeah. So I got something else new that's flavored. So this year, Dr. Pepper came out with Creamy Coconut Dr. Pepper. And for the last 2 months, I've been trying to find a bottle of it to try it. And then grocery store had a massive sale, and they just happened to be part of that sale. So I tried them. Creamy Coconut. I mean, on its own, it's already good. I paired it with a splash of Cane Rock rum, which I've come to like. It's right up there with my Bumbu.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of a toss up now between those two. I won't go away from those two if I'm getting a dark rum now. But yeah, Creamy Coconut Dr. Pepper and Cane Rock spiced rum.
Nice. Yeah, it kind of took me off because you know me, I drink Dr. Pepper.
Right.
Kind of forgot I went with root beer. And when you got it in your head, I'm getting ready to drink, because I do like a little bit of whether it's a bourbon or a whiskey or whatever, like an Eagle Rare, that normally I would drink on its own. I drink it neat or whatever, but I'll do a little splash of that with my Dr. Pepper. I find coconut rum is great with Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
People laugh when you mention Dr. Pepper as a mixer, and it's like, it's really one of the best mixers out there. Yeah. It goes good with just about everything.
Because it has so much, 23 flavors.
Right.
One of those flavors is going to go with something.
Right. So yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking I forgot I used root beer instead of Dr. Pepper. So yeah, my first drink, I don't know if it came across on camera or not, but it was just like, I was a little surprised.
Yeah. Tried
to cover it up, but yeah, I was a little surprised.
That's funny.
Yeah. So what you got going on?
Oh, not a whole lot. A lot of work. Sell a lot of chips around 4th of July.
Yeah, Frito Lake.
It's kind of a big holiday.
Kind of busy this time of year, are you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my route's really growing, so it's a lot more than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. And then as far as the show goes and all this stuff, did I see correctly that you have revamped your Cameraman Wes Photography website?
So last year I tried an experiment. There's a company that helps with artists, try to get their stuff out there. And maybe if I had more time or money, it probably would have worked out better, but it was expensive. And so my original website that I've had for years now, it's one of those where, you know, if somebody's shopping on it, they purchase everything. Everything's done straight there through the website. Like you order whatever size picture you want, or like what I'm really trying to push, because I mean, photography with cell phones nowadays, anybody can be a photographer.
Right.
They may not get the shot that a person that knows what they're doing could get, but it's still going to look pretty good because of how good cell phones are.
Right.
So one thing I try to push is with my website, you can do shower curtains, you can do tapestries, you can do coasters, stickers,
If
ornaments.
I'm in the shower and I see you taking pictures through my shower curtain.
But it's just throw pillows. I mean, there's so much than just hanging a picture on the wall.
Gotcha.
So if you want to go to the website and see all my artwork that I do, photography, it's in the bio for the. That's what they say. The link's in the bio.
Right.
But it's charles-nizzler.pixels.com. I couldn't change the name because I had it before I switched to Cameraman Wes, and I didn't want to have to start over again.
Right.
So I'm like, well, it's my name. It's not that big of a deal. So.
Right on. Well, I saw you had done some different things, so I figured we'd mention that while we're talking today.
Thanks.
So, I know we've got something here we'll do here in just a little while, in just a minute, but kind of our homemade humidor that we briefly touched on it before. I guess, I don't know. Where do you see the future of the podcast going?
I mean, I would love to say, you know, in a couple years we're going to be as big as Joe Rogan, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, right.
I don't think anybody could touch Joe Rogan on podcasts. He does a good job. But I mean, keeping the show going is a big thing, because here locally we help get so much information out to motorcyclists that they're not going to see it anywhere else. But the podcast to me is so much deeper, and we can cover so many more things that I really see it growing. I mean, if we can get people on board and we really start getting numbers, I mean, we could start doing a podcast a week, really, if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the last one with Jay, I thought was really cool, really informative. He just got a new position in DC or something like that with the committee, transportation committee, to help with the future of motorcycling and how electric vehicles and all that play a role in that.
Right.
Because of all the accidents that they've had with motorcyclists and electric vehicles, because the electric vehicle doesn't sense the motorcycle in front of it. So I thought that was really cool that they requested him to be on that committee with how big he is. I'd say just in the state, but even larger than just the state.
Oh, yeah.
But to me, that's where I want to see our podcast go, where we see these people that are so influential in motorcycling and outside of that. You know, when we can get to people, different musicians.
Oh, yeah.
I can't think of their name now.
Yeah.
Anthony Rosano, I know we've been trying to talk with him about being on the podcast, and he's all up for it. It's just getting the
It looks like the end of July. We're finally going to be able to meet and be able to do that somewhere around the end of this month. So
nice.
Yeah. So maybe something we'll have for the August. But I want to get into the music too, only because, again, it's Steel Horse Thunder and beyond. Oh, dig this. You know, I've been trying to get with Tab and Wah as well.
Right.
Their thing is, you know, well, he hasn't put a new album out. He really doesn't want to do interviews. I'm like, you know, hey, I mean, I want to talk about his music, of course, but, you know, he's a motorcyclist. He's got a great story, you know, about motorcycling and all that kind of stuff. Want to kind of focus more on that end of things with him. But he just doesn't want to do anything until he has a new album, you know, because he hasn't put an album out.
A long time.
He just announced. Now, he told us about this when we saw him down in Cincinnati a month or so ago.
Yeah.
He did tell me that this was going to happen, but they just officially announced it. He has his first new album in 14 years. He's putting out a brand new album. And the name of the album, this is not, he didn't tell me what the name was going to be. The title of the album is I Hear Thunder.
Oh, man, yeah.
And we have Steel Horse Thunder TV show. We're doing the Steel Horse Thunder and Beyond podcast.
We should be his first interview.
And now he's putting an album out, I Hear Thunder. So I think we might have a shot at being able to talk with him. Nice. I know he'll be in Indy in October. But for me, music and motorcycles go hand in hand.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere you do a motorcycle event, there's always live music followed up. You know what I'm saying? There's always live music. Cody's Ride.
Yeah.
That has become a weekend, a Friday night and Saturday night event now.
Right.
They had, I think, 3 bands on Friday night. They had another 4 bands, I think, on Saturday. I mean, music goes with motorcycling.
Yeah.
Veterans go with motorcycling. You know, I'd love to be able to talk to some, and I don't, whether they're older guys like, we're talking, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, or whether it's today's military, you know what I mean? I'd like to talk to some veterans because those are just certain things that just go with motorcycling. And it's all different types of music.
Oh, yeah.
I know most people nowadays on motorcycles, again, I'm not one of them, but most people, that's why you see baggers everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Dear Lord. We did a thing at Cody's Ride, and I just kind of did a walk-by with a camera.
Yeah.
And we're just walking by, and it's like, do you remember back in the day when you hardly ever saw a bagger, and we called them geezer glides? That's a geezer glide. There's 1 or 2 old people around here, because look at there, there's 2 baggers over there. Dude, that's all you see now. Every motorcycle out there.
Right.
Everybody's got fairings. Everybody's got their stereos. Everybody's got all that stuff. And so now stereos is a very, very big thing on motorcycling.
Right.
And so that's why I really want to be able to start incorporating more music. Now again, Tab, he's an avid motorcyclist.
Right. Anthony
Rosano and the Conquerors, everybody in the band rides.
Yeah.
And then. But I also have somebody, Jenny DeVoe, who I really want to get on the podcast. She's been on a motorcycle, but she doesn't ride one herself.
Yeah.
But her music is so inspirational, and I know how much it helped me back in a time when I was going through a hard time. Her music got me through it.
Right.
So that's why I kind of want to get people like that on here as well and talk some music, get some veterans, talk to some veterans. It was great talking with Jay.
Yeah.
Only because he is, like you said, this is a guy that's been part of this for a long time.
Very long time.
So he's very up to date.
He's only 35.
And he's only 35, I know. And so it was kind of good talking with him. And that's the kind of stuff I want to see. I enjoy doing these.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's just you and I puffing on some cigars, talking about different things, future plans, that kind of stuff. I enjoy that as well. But I am looking forward to getting some of these musicians on here.
Yeah. I know after our last cigar episode, I wouldn't mind getting a few scientists on here too.
Yeah, right?
Talking about what we talked about.
That is true. That is true. Because everything we talk about on here is strictly our own opinions.
Right.
And
we're not professionals.
No.
It's just what we see and notice. But
we're inquiring minds.
Right. And we'd like to know.
And we would like to know.
So I did do some updating because the video for our podcast was only on YouTube. And we are now video and audio on Spotify.
Oh, sweet.
And I was able to go back and every episode has now been re-uploaded to video. So now Spotify and YouTube are both
Video and audio.
Yep.
Sweet. Then everything else is strictly audio, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Right on. All right, so how's your cigar? We're into the good part now. I've got about an inch of an ash going here. Yeah.
You know, I'm surprised because this is a lot cheaper than yours. And it's burning about the same.
Yeah, this is pretty good. I mean, it's a little uneven there, a little bit, but not much.
No.
Not much. Ash is staying on. They're burning pretty good. I'll be honest. I've had a couple of these.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, whenever we sit down here to do a cigar review, I very rarely ever grab a cigar for the very first time.
Right.
That I've never tried before.
Yeah.
I believe I did that once with that. If I'm not mistaken, I think I smoked an Ashton Maduro on.
Yeah, the last one we did together was Ashton.
And that was my absolute first time ever smoking one, and it was fantastic. I really liked it a lot. I don't normally do that because we're talking about so many different things.
Right.
I can't really concentrate on it. I will say this. I've been disappointed in this cigar.
Yeah.
I heard nothing but great things about it. And so I got them. Spent the money, bought them. First couple, I was like, I just don't get it. I don't see what anybody sees in it. Sitting here today, smoking this, I'm actually enjoying the cigar.
Yeah.
And it's the first one of these I've enjoyed. So
Did you do the V cut on all the other ones?
no, it's the first one I've done a V cut on.
I think I tried a V cut one time up at Gillespie's. Yeah, I tried a V cut up there, and I butchered that poor cigar. So I've never done a V cut since.
I've gotten to where I really enjoy the V cut. Should have the cool, badass, not beard care, Steel Horse Thunder. But I've gotten to where I do use the V cut on just about everything anymore.
Yeah.
The only time I don't use the V cut if I smoke some of those the Steel Horse cigars. Those are flatheads.
Yeah.
And I find that the V cut doesn't really work so good on there. Now what I have is an El Cheapo.
Yeah.
$3 V cut cutter that you can buy, like I said, $3, $4, whatever it was at the smoke shop. Puts a really, really shallow V cut in it.
Okay.
And I found that actually works pretty good. What I'll do is I call it the butthole cut, because if you see cartoons and they do a dog's butthole, it's usually just an X. And so I'll do that. And it's a very shallow cut. And it actually works pretty good for those flathead, you know, like the
CAO.
The CAO, you've got, because you've got their regular flathead.
Yeah.
Their regular flathead line, and then they came out with the Steel Horse edition for the motorcycles. But they were all shaped the same way, and they've got that flat head on them. And so when that cap is completely flat, it's so hard to cut them. And then, like I said, I've used a punch on them. The punch works, but a punch makes it's just a really tight draw, so you almost have to do a double punch on it. It's just, they're weird to cut.
Yeah. I know my lighter has a punch on the bottom.
Nice.
I've never used it, but to me it's like, that seems like such a small cut.
I find that it has a tendency to make the cigar really hot as it gets down towards the end, because it's going through that one area. It just seems to heat it up a lot. The V-cut, I really enjoy the V-cut now. I felt bad because I just gotten the Steel Horse Thunder guillotine, regular flat guillotine cut, because that's all I used to ever use. And then I started using the V-cut. I've used it a couple times up at Gillespie's, and it was like, I do kind of like it. So next thing I know, now I've got a nice V-cut.
Right.
And I have a tendency to use that more than I use anything else anymore.
But I needed to use the guillotine cut since mine fell in between my seat of my car.
So now you're going to have to
Probably have to move the seat all the way forward to be able to reach under there, and I'm gonna have to figure out where I had it at before.
Yeah, we'll have to get Cindy. She's got a skinny arm. She gets squeezed through.
Right.
Actually, it's the one thing she doesn't have skinny. She got some guns on her, man.
Right.
That girl's got some guns on her. But yes, her hands and her wrist and everything, they're a lot smaller. She can get in there. All right, so we got an idea of what we're wanting to do in the future.
Sky's the limit with the podcast. I mean,
And if people if they have a suggestion, they could actually. Is there a way they can?
yeah. I mean, if you have a topic you want to talk about, or have us talk about, certain people that you think would be good for the podcast, you can leave a comment on the podcast, whether it's YouTube, Spotify. You can email us at steelhorsethunder@gmail.com with anything there if you would like to get a hold of us on that. If you're a motorcyclist in the Indianapolis area and you've done a lot of stuff and you'd like to be on the podcast, just email us. We can get a hold of you, talk, see if we think it'll be good. But yeah, either leave a comment on YouTube or steelhorsethunder@gmail.com.
Super cool. Super cool. Do we want to talk about our humidor? If say you're just now getting started on cigars. This is what I used for, my God, 10 years.
Right.
And I used to have people laugh about it. And now they basically sell these. You can go to a smoke shop and basically buy these.
Right.
This is all I did. I went to, I believe, Walmart. This jar right here, it actually has a sealed lid.
Right.
So when you close it, it seals it tight. At first, my first jar, it was just a regular glass jar with a glass lid. I used to put a piece of plastic over top, like a bag,
right.
Plastic Walmart Kroger bag, and just lay it over there. And that's what I used at first. Then I found this has a nice big opening right here. I have fairly big hands, so I can reach in there super easy. I think this jar now probably costs about $12 maybe.
Probably between 12 and 18, depending on where you live at.
So you got that. Now this right here, this hygrometer, as you can see, it's 76% humidity inside there, so it's a little high right now. But I can buy this at Walmart, and this now is probably about $10-12 as well.
Yeah. I think I just looked at one. I think it was $11.88 or something like that.
Something like that. Salt shaker, a piece of sponge. Put the sponge in there. Fill it with distilled water. I have reverse osmosis, so I use a reverse osmosis water in there. With the salt shaker, you actually have all these holes. Now, what I would do right now, I'm looking at that was up to 76, 77. That's a little higher than what you want. Standard is 70-70. You want it to be 70 degrees inside there and 70%. I always say 70% moisture because that's what we called it in the dry kilns. But your humidity
relative
level,
humidity.
your RH, yeah. So what I would do is I would just take electrical tape and I'd put it over these holes.
Okay.
And a lot of times I only had to have like 3 holes open.
Right.
And it would in the summertime.
Yeah.
And then in the wintertime, I'd peel that tape off because
it's so much drier in the winter.
You can't control the temperature here. It's going to be whatever your house is or wherever you're at. It's going to stay like that.
Right.
And then this right here, this is just a sleeve of Spanish cedar. If you order some higher end cigars, I have the Cohibas.
Right.
That's what I almost smoked tonight.
Yeah.
I almost smoked the Cohiba Red Dot.
This one right here?
That one right there.
Right there.
A little more, Cohiba has been around forever. There's still one over in Cuba, and now they have one over here for the New World cigars. But if you order a 5-pack of their cigars, they're gonna be shipped with this in there.
Okay.
Just a piece of cedar. Again, we talked about it the other day. You can find cedar pucks.
Yeah.
The little round pucks that you can buy for your closets and stuff. But you put that in the bottom there. You take the hygrometer. I always put it in the front, so that way it's sitting right there at the front. Take the salt shaker, put it in the back. There's enough room in here, I guarantee you, I can fit close to 40 cigars in here. Now I do prefer my cigars to lay flat.
Right.
And the whole reason, and then you put this lid on here, it's again, you can see I can almost pick the whole jar up. It's that tight, so it'll hold real good. But even if you take something like this, which is a Churchill, that's a 7-inch cigar, even it lays flat on the bottom. I finally got to the point where I had so many cigars I had to stand them up.
Right.
Standing them up was the only way to do it. I looked online and I saw so many people talking about you can't stand a cigar on its end. And then, well, if you do, make sure you put the foot end down. Don't put the cap end down. You got to put the foot end down. Then others are like, no, you got to put the cap end down first. Oh, you just can't do it. You just can't do it. The fact is, if you're buying a box of cigars and you're putting them in your humidor and you're going to let them sit for 3 years before you even start smoking them,
right? You
want to age them. You're not going to do that in something like this anyway.
No.
This is for somebody who's going to, if you want 20, 30 cigars,
right? I
can promise you, if you stand them up, they're going to be just fine.
Oh, yeah.
They get stood up sometimes when they're in the factories, when they're in the middle of shipping. They're flipped all over different directions when shipping. When you see them in most big humidors, when you walk in, the shelves are at an angle.
Yep.
So they're always at an angle. Yes, if you're aging them, you want them in a good humidor that you can control the heat, the cooling, the moisture, everything.
Yeah. Now,
let me say this. Oh, I didn't get a Velveeta pack.
Velveeta pack.
But Boveda sells these packets, and I have them over here in my other humidor.
Yeah.
What do you say? Can we be informal? Can I just go grab one? All right, let me grab you one of these and show you.
Because we're so formal on this podcast.
This right here. This is a Boveda pack. Okay, it's called Boveda pack. And this one here is actually drying up.
I was going to say, I can tell it's a little dried up in there.
It's getting hard on this end, still a little squishy on this end. The way these work, when you put one of these in there, if you need moisture in there, it releases moisture into the atmosphere. If it gets too high, it draws the moisture back into the bag, so therefore it's not in the cigars. You don't want to mess with a salt shaker where you have to kind of keep an eye on it. You take one of these. This is a 69 right here percent. They have 72%, 69, 65, 63. They have them all the way down to, I think, 58.
Yeah.
And then they also have for when you're seasoning one. They're like an 85 or 87. And when you're seasoning, you throw one of those in there. That really puts the moisture into it.
Okay.
So that way your shelves can get all that.
Right.
You take one of these, a jar this size here, if I was going to end up putting 40 cigars in there, I'd probably take 2 of these. I'd probably put 2 of these in there just to make sure. You can put as many as you want. Right. Because it's never going to over. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you don't have enough in there, you'll have problems. But if you have too much, you're fine. So nowadays, I would just use 2 of these inside this pack, or buy one big one. Right. Because they come in different sizes. My big humidor, they're the big, whatever the grams are, 50 grams, whatever they are. I got 3 of those inside.
Basically the size of the shelf.
So yeah, and these can be up against your cigars. They're not going to hurt anything. You can lay your cigars on top of them. You can lay them on top of your cigars. And then that eliminates the salt shaker with the sponge. You just throw one of these in there. This one right here, like I said, it's starting to get hard now. Yeah. So it's wore out its lifespan. You're going to get about anywhere from 6 to 12 months out of one of these. Yeah. I will take this out. I will put it in a tub of my reverse osmosis water and let it sit there for a couple days. And when I pull it out, it's going to be just like it was when I bought it brand new. Nice. They will tell you not to do that. Yeah. They're cheap, so I don't necessarily recommend that you do that because they're not that expensive. Right.
Yeah, if it was, $50-$60 for that,
Right.
then yeah, it might be a little different.
$4 or $5, it's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Pretty cheap. Actually, I could probably buy one of those cheaper than buying the salt shaker and the sponge anymore.
Yeah.
But you set yourself up like this, man, these are going to keep your cigars just fine.
Yep.
Again, you're not going to store cigars for years in this.
No.
But if you got, say, you got 40 cigars, it's going to hold 40 cigars without an issue.
Yeah, I still have 2 jars right now that I use on top of my coolador.
Right? And so, like I said, I had people laughing at me when I did this. And like, what in the world do you got going on here? Oh my goodness. And now
they sell boxes.
every smoke shop you go to, they usually use acrylic. I do prefer glass myself.
To me, glass just looks better. The acrylic, I mean, you can tell it's plastic.
It's plastic. And to me, there's got to be some type of a plasticky odor to it.
Right.
That's what the cooladors, that's what people say about the coolador. Well, they're plastic on the inside. They smell like plastic.
Yeah. You have to let them air out for quite a while.
I let mine air out, and I wiped it down with soap and water, and then, but with the glass and that little hygrometer, I mean, my God, that hygrometer's been going now for, I've had that for years now.
Yeah.
For years. So that's a cheap way to put one together for $20, $25 maybe. $25 all said and done for a humidor, as opposed to going and buying a coolador, where you're spending, you know, anywhere from 150 to 300 for the cheaper ones.
For the cheaper ones,
For the cheaper ones.
For the Amazon ones, which is one of mine.
Both of mine. The one I have here in the lounge is a smaller one. It's a Need One, the Need One brand. It's worked great for me. I've never had an issue with that. My larger one, however, is kind of an off-name brand.
Yeah.
In fact, there's not even a name on it. If you looked at it, you'd never see a name on it. There's no name anywhere. And I kind of figured out why. It's not the best.
I think mine's a King Chi or something like that. It's literally identical to the Need One.
Yes.
Like, I'm pretty sure it's the same company.
Yeah, they look exactly the same.
Yes. And I like it now that I've gotten it dialed in.
Yeah.
First couple months was like, I don't know if this is going to work. And now that I've figured it out, I've got a few Bavetta packs in there. And it's like, literally, when they say you can buy this coolador, and you season it, and it's done. You don't have to look at it. I could go weeks without looking at that coolador, and I know when I go to it, it's going to be at either 69 or 70% humidity and 67 degrees.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
It's like, this is pretty nice.
It is, and that was the only thing that always scared me with the jar, with the salt and pepper or the salt shaker in there with the sponge.
Yeah.
Because I had to really keep an eye on it.
Yes.
And especially if your home isn't, you know, I have windows open whenever I can.
Right.
And not running air conditioning. So the temperature can change. And when the temperature changes, the relative humidity changes as well inside those things. And that was the only drawback to this.
Yeah.
There was times I go in there like, ooh, it's up to 80%. You know, and that's when you start getting up high. It's, you know, then you have to worry about cigar beetles and mold and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I know it takes weeks, usually a few weeks of being that high to start seeing stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So if you're getting a jar, you're probably going to be smoking, you know, a week or whatever. So it's probably not going to be too big of a deal, but yeah. If you have a jar, check it once or twice a week to make sure you're within the range you want to be in.
You know, and oddly enough, I still check even my cooladors. I still look at those every day. Every day I just double check it just to make sure. I'm one of those guys, I like to look at my cigars.
Yeah.
I just like to look at them, you know. I've got several cigars in there that are for me, high dollar, higher end cigars. And, you know, when I, especially shortly after you buy a new, you know, I get a new order in or something like that, and I've got all my cigars, I'm looking and going, damn, what do I want to try today, you know? And it's just so funny because I really enjoy smoking different cigars all the time. And how certain cigars, whether they're strong, whether they're mild, or whatever, anything in between. You know, every day I'm in a mood for something different. So every day it's not like a cigarette smoker who has a pack or a brand and they smoke that same brand all the time. You know, cigars are kind of different, man. I love changing it up. I love smoking different stuff. Sometimes I'm in the mood for a cigar that's going to punch you in the face. This is a pretty strong cigar right here. Yeah. I will say, this is a pretty strong cigar.
So Tatianas, they are almost as light as you could get, at least to me. I know technically on the websites they say like smooth to medium or something like that, but and maybe it's because I've smoked other stuff that is much stronger, so to me it's like it's just a really light cigar. Even though it's got the dark Indonesian wrapper, it's not, because you know in your mind when you're looking through magazines, through, you know, online, you see the lighter ones, the Connecticut, so you're like, oh well, that's a light cigar. It's like, but they can get you with the fillers. That light wrapper can trick you sometimes. Because I like this. It's a very dark Indonesian wrapper, but it doesn't have a harsh bite. It's not, I mean, you don't have any of that.
You can get a dark Maduro wrapper. Yeah. And it still be a medium strength cigar. And then go get you a Connecticut wrapper. That's
blow your socks off.
Nice light color, and you're thinking, oh, everybody always, and for the most part, that is kind of true. Yeah. Your darker cigars do have a tendency to be a little stronger, a little heavier. Right. But not always. That's just, it's not a guarantee, because like you said, I've smoked some Connecticut's that it's like, dang. You know what I mean? And it's just like, whew, get a buzz by the time you're done with it. And then, you know, a super dark cigar that's fairly mellow. You just never know. I got those Monte Cristos, the white labels. Yes. Yeah. Have you tried one of those yet?
I have not. I've kept them in the
You're not gonna
humidor. No. No. Too strong.
A lot stronger than I was expecting.
Oh yeah.
I was like, to me, it's not. To me, it's.
Those weren't those Robustos?
Yeah, they're small. A little shorter. Yeah, they're small. It was the smaller ones, but still, compared to say the. Because the Monte Cristos, I have a tendency to stick with the yellow label, the classic yellow, or I'll go with the platinum. I've smoked a lot of those, and I actually prefer both of those over the white label. So to me, the white label was, and it wasn't that it was super strong. It's just almost like a Fuente cigar. All I ever smoked was Fuentes way back, and then I started smoking Padrones. I was like, oh my god, these are so much better. Well, I've gone back because I still have a handful of Fuentes, different ones that are in my, you know, whether it's the Hemingway or whatever they have, you know, all the different ones they have. And they just kind of have that dirt flavor to it. It's just a kind of a dirty cigar. It just tastes like dirt, very plain. There's nothing about it. It's like, oh, you know, oh man, man, do you taste the raisins in that? Did you get those toasted almonds?
So it's one that when you light it up, you got a real nice grass and hay, earthy taste to it.
Yeah, and it's not even grass and hay sounds wonderful compared to
it's mud.
It's more like dirt.
It's just dirt.
It's just dirt. It just tastes like
not earth. Even Georgia clay.
It just earth. So yeah, it's yeah, I didn't care for it. Now again, I've only smoked one. I always wait. I try to smoke 2 or 3 before I ever make a. Like I said, this right here, I've actually enjoyed this cigar. Yeah. I think this is my 3rd one. Yeah. The first 2, not so much. Not so much at all. But yet this one here, it's actually nice. It's burning decent. I touched it up one time. It started to run on me. I touched it up, and that's okay. If they start to run, you just hit that high spot and just even it out. Don't let it keep going, otherwise you're going to ruin the cigar. Yeah. Some people, that's a big no. You know, oh, you can't touch them. Oh, once you touch them up, oh, if I have to keep touching it up, it's like I don't mind. That doesn't bother me at all. Touching them up. I'd much rather do that and let it keep burning evenly. Right. Because that's something people forget about. This has been rolled a certain specific way for a reason. That's why you have wrappers, and you have a binder, and you have your fillers. All those fillers come the same way.
Short fillers.
And those long fillers are going to be from different parts of the plant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your leaves up high are a whole lot different than your leaves that are down low in the shade.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's so much that goes along. I think I was watching Cigars Daily, and they were talking about, 300 hands to make this cigar right here. You know what I mean? Because they're talking about the people working in the fields.
Kind of worries me.
Then the people that are, and it's just talking about these people planted the seeds. These people grew the plants. These people harvested the leaves. These people hung the leaves to dry. These people put those leaves into an aging room where they stayed. Then these people got these leaves, and then they had to decide, which leaves are we putting together to make this particular blend. And then, all right, now we need a binder. What are we going to, you know what I mean? And it's just like, and they say, by the time it's all said and done, hey, you get 300 hands that, that's 150 people that, I'm assuming they each had 2 hands. See? You should never assume. Because there could have been one poor one-handed guy out there that was having a heck of a time. But there's just so much that goes into it.
Yeah.
And these New World cigars, I like them. Mm-hmm. And I love the Nicaraguan flavor. I love the S.H.T where the spice comes out real strong in the wrapper, or in the flavors. And I don't know, I like them. Then when I get to the old world cigars, like the Fuentes and even the Monte Cristo, it was like,
just a cigar.
To me, it's just a dirty. It's kind of like that finish on a cigar after you've blown the smoke out.
Yeah.
Does that finish last a while, or is it a very quick? Sometimes after you blow the smoke out, it's just like almost immediately the flavor, everything's gone.
Right.
Other ones, that flavor kind of lingers for a while. Sometimes it lingers, and it's a great thing because it's a great finish, what they call a clean finish. Mm-hmm. Others have dirty finishes where it's just kind of...
and it stays in your mouth for days.
Forever. It's like, I have brushed my teeth, I have mouthwashed, I have done everything, and I still just...
And as bad as those ones are, that's just part of the fun of smoking cigars. Because you don't know which one's going to have that finish on it.
Right. So
there's millions of different cigars. And they're constantly coming out with new ones on top of the ones that have already been made. So it's like, does it suck to have that one every now and then? Yeah. But to look in your humidor or coolador and see 50 different labels instead of it all being just, stocked with one specific label.
Right.
You've got 50 different labels, 20 plus different brands. I mean, it's just, they're limitless on variety.
And again, it's, you were talking about, those come in the Corona, or you have the Robusto, or you have the Toro, or you have the Perfectos, or you have the Churchills, and you have the Torpedo, and you have the, the double Robusto, and you got all these different sizes and styles, and I have found that that's kind of why I like the variety of smoking a cigar.
Uh-huh.
This was a very short cigar. Mm-hmm. We were looking at the Rocky Patel there.
Right.
That's a 7-inch Churchill cigar. That's a long smoke.
Yeah.
These are a shorter smoke. I don't always have time to sit down and spend 2 hours puffing on a cigar.
Right.
We're watching a football game.
Yeah.
You better believe it. I'm probably going to break out one of those Churchills.
Uh-huh.
And so therefore I keep Churchill cigars in my humidor. There's other times, something like this, that little Cohiba Red Dot. Uh-huh. Now again, that little cigar is going to burn for a good hour and 20 minutes. It'll take me an hour and 20 minutes to smoke that little cigar.
Same as the Argentum, the one you smoked. You're like, well, I don't know if this will last long enough. And it was like, it lasted longer than the tobacco that I had. It was like, jeez.
So, I mean, there's just such a great variety with it. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
So I keep a bunch of them. I'll keep the tins for the winter time. I think we talked about that before, when it's super cold out. It's not as big of a deal now because we have the cafe where we have our little lounge area that we can smoke. You know, and for everybody, if you're smoking indoors, always keep in mind, I talk about all the time, cigars are not nearly as dangerous for you as cigarettes, in my opinion. Not being a physician or a scientist. But a cigar, I'm not inhaling this.
Right.
However, if you're smoking a cigar indoors without any kind of ventilation or purification system, then it is just as harmful. Anytime you breathe in smoke into your lungs, it's bad for you. I don't care what kind of smoke. If you're at a campfire, if you're burning wood in your house, if, you know, whatever, people that burn trash, people that burn whatever, it's not good to breathe in smoke ever.
Right.
Here inside the lounge here, we have an exhaust system. Now, like I just said, the one I'm using right now isn't as good as the old one. So
it's quieter than the old one.
And much quieter and much more pleasant looking, but it doesn't. It's not as good as the old one was. We are going to be putting some more vents in here for the winter time. We're going to have new vents going before winter rolls around. But we also have a purifier in here, and it's a purifier that's designed for smoke. You want to make sure they got the HEPA filters, but you want to make sure it's one that's been designed for removing smoke. We can sit in here, smoke a couple cigars. This is a small room, small lounge, and we'll leave that purifier. That'll stay on now the rest of the night, and then in the morning I'll turn it back down to medium. I'll turn it on high when I'm smoking, but then I'll turn it back down to medium the next day. And when I come in here the next day, you can't even smell the cigars in here. And I've brought people in that don't smoke. Because when you do smoke, it's like I smell it all the time, so I don't notice it. And so I bring other people in here that don't smoke, and they're like, no, you never know you were smoking cigars in here. I'm not saying it'll stay that way forever. Like anything else, it's smoke. It's going to get on the wood. It's going to get on stuff, but it's been fairly new since actually smoking in here, so. Correct. But yeah, I just want to make sure you understand that when you're smoking indoors, you have to have don't just go with just a purifier. It's good. You need a purifier, but man, have exhaust. And always remember, if you got an exhaust fan going, you have to have a place for the. You know, you got to have, what's the word I'm trying to say? Inflow? Because you got outflow with the exhaust. You got to have air coming in. You have to have an intake. To push it. Intake. At some point, somewhere you have to have an intake where you can draw it in. We can crack a door if we have to sometimes. You know, we have cross ventilation going here, so that's kind of, I have the ceiling fan going, and that's kind of mixes the smoke around a little bit. Normally I turn the ceiling fan off, and in that way it just all draws right there and it blows right out. Kind of made a mistake today. As hot as it was, as humid and muggy as it was like, you know what? I want to keep the fan on. It just feels good. Feels right. It feels right, Brian. It feels right. Oh goodness. So what do you got? What do we need to touch on tonight before we bid adieux? I'm not really sure. It's been a long week. I haven't had a whole lot of time to think. I don't know if you can see back here or not. I actually got my pipe out today. I haven't smoked it in quite a while. Because with my allergies this year, I haven't smoked much at all, other than when we're doing this, pretty much. But I do have a doctor's appointment for that. So some ear, nose, throat specialists that specifically deal with complications and breathing. So hopefully we'll get it all figured out. Because I don't think it's just allergies. Maybe it's just a very strange year because it has been a really bad year for allergies. It has been a bad year for allergies. A lot of people have been complaining. But I think there's more
nasal constriction or something going on in there. I don't think it's just allergies. So.
You would think with all the chemtrails, we would never have allergies. That would kill it.
I gotta make shorts on this episode.
Chemtrails? Chemtrails? There's no such thing. None at all. You know it's bad when you take a picture and you look in the picture and go, oh my God, look, it's a blue sky.
Right.
There's no trails anywhere in there. Huh. Imagine that.
And the next day, well, usually within hours. The last time I took a picture, it was like, wow, this is amazing. I haven't seen blue that deep in the sky since I was a kid. The next day, woke up and it was gray, overcast. Not real clouds, though. Weird.
Yeah, that's what people say anyway. That's what we've heard. I don't know.
But what'd you smoke again? What was that?
This is the Milano V. The Milano V. This is the Milano, it's the
Eagle Rare getting to you.
yeah, too much Eagle Rare there. No, it's the Oliva. This is their Series V, and this is the Milano, and it's the Milano Maduro.
Okay.
Like I said, it's got that San Andreas wrapper on there, and I found that there's a lot of them I like. Rocky Patel. I smoked one when we were, I think, the very first podcast we did up at Gillespie's. I smoked the Rocky Patel, and it had that San Andreas wrapper, the black, and that was a darn good cigar. That was one of the cigars, first time I ever smoked one. I was like, dang.
I don't remember what I did. There was one, I smoked one that had the San Andreas, and I actually really liked it, but I forget what it was.
Cedar Creek.
Is that what it was?
We got those, I call them cafes, because I'm a motorcycle guy, we have the cafe racers. and the cafe cigars, I've smoked their Maduro. Well, actually, I've smoked all theirs, and I do actually like them a lot. I like their cigars a lot, but we did smoke the San Andreas wrapper from there, and I really like that one a lot. We actually got some complimentary ones.
Yes,
from
it was really nice. I know we need to talk to him because it'd be nice to have him on the podcast.
We will be talking with them. Right now is their busy season as well. They are swamped. We were there last weekend. They had the live music going on Saturday. We filmed all day Saturday, left Cody's ride, and then met some family and stuff over at Cedar Creek for that big concert.
Right.
They had overflow parking over in the big church up the road. You had to take a shuttle bus to get in. It was slam packed, and it was as hot could be.
Yeah, it was.
And but we hung out there until 9 o'clock. But their shows have to stop at 9 because there is a subdivision not too far from there, and the subdivision was there first. Right. So they're like, we don't mind you putting the winery.
Oh yeah, because they really support the winery.
Like we'll let the winery in. Oh, a brewery, all right, yeah, we'll agree to that. Oh, now a distillery, well, all right, we'll agree to that. Yeah, we're gonna do live music and put an eatery in. All right, the live music's got to stop by 9 o'clock. And it's a good compromise.
It is
a very good compromise. Much better than them being able to move in there and then all of a sudden the people at Painted Hills were like, what the hell are you playing music until midnight for? We're trying to sleep. And them saying, well, that's too bad. We're allowed to do it. Because it's like, no. They were there first.
Right.
So, great thing.
And their concerts are always really good there.
Yeah, they have a lot of tribute bands there. So, like, this one was a Tom Petty and a... what was the other band? The main headliner was a Fleetwood Mac tribute band, and they were fantastic. Yeah, I mean, they were really, really good. I'm not even a huge Fleetwood Mac fan. I mean, there's a couple songs of theirs I like. Rumors was the big album when I was younger. When they came out with Rumors, that was just like, it's kind of like The Wall. It got played so much. It was like, dear God, if I hear this, if I hear one more song off of this album, I'm just gonna. The Wall was the same way for me. To me, they just absolutely destroyed and ruined The Wall because that's all you heard on the radio. Right. But it was a great concert. I can't even imagine how many people were out there. You're talking thousands. I mean, now they got a big property. Oh yeah. But you're talking thousands of people out here for this. And I know when I went inside, Bryce and them were all back there working and stuff. And so I was like, yeah, I said, we still want to do the podcast.
Yeah.
I said, but I said, it's not going to happen anytime soon with what you get. They're like, this is our life. This is our life until summer's over right now. So we'll have them on so they can talk, because they were having their own cigars made and everything else. There were Cedar Creek cigars.
I know. I'd love to get a Steel Horse Thunder cigar. I think CAO's already got it started with that. Maybe we could.
They do have a Steel Horse.
Maybe we could tag on a Thunder on there, and they could be the provider of the Steel Horse Thunder cigar. Wink, wink.
All right. So yeah,
CAO.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having CAO as a sponsor on here.
I got some smoke in my eyes.
Normally we have this Steel Horse box sitting back there because it is kind of cool.
It is cool.
And I remember the last time I talked to Tab Amois, to go back to that, we were talking about, I told him I was going to bring him one of those Steel Horse cigars next time. But I was like, dude, I said, it was just one of those things. It was a no-brainer for me. Or I said, you know, you see you got a show called Steel Horse, and there's a cigar called Steel Horse. Right. He goes, well, it's a no-brainer. You got to buy it. He said, you got to buy a box. You know, I said, that's right. I bought a box. I done seen never do that because they're so expensive.
Yeah.
But I did. And so now that he's got an album out called I Hear Thunder, it's like, okay, it was a no-brainer. I got a show called Steel Horse Thunder, and you're hearing Thunder. It's a no-brainer. You got to do it.
Right.
You got to do a podcast with us.
No, I think the future is bright for the podcast, for the show.
I enjoy doing the show, enjoy being on YouTube, Facebook. The Facebook Lives have gone really well.
Right.
Again, for a local show.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to remember, we're not doing something that's going on worldwide. We're doing something that's very regional.
Right.
You know what I mean? Almost state. It's you know, we do most everything is here in Indiana. So when I got, you know, 10,000 people watching a local event every week, I'm pretty darn psyched about that. You know, I'd love to be able to start doing more regional stuff and then eventually more national stuff.
Yeah.
But for right now, I'm pretty happy with the way things are rolling. My goal was to make it 12 seasons. We're in season 12 right now.
Yeah.
This is season 12. My goal was, I hope we can make it till now. Now I'm looking at it, in all honesty, right now I'm thinking 15.
Right.
Hopefully by the end of 3 more years, we'll have somebody else primed, groomed, ready to jump on board and start doing all the hosting and all that kind of stuff, and be able to kind of step back. As much as I hate to admit it, I am at the age now where Social Security is available to me now. I am at the retirement age, so I'm thinking, you know.
Sounds like a ownership gig is in the future.
The thought of somebody else doing all the work and me being able to sit back, I kind of like it.
You have to say, Cane Rock rum and creamy coconut Dr. Pepper are really good.
We'll have to call that the Cameraman Wes. We're going to come up with a name for that.
Yeah.
We will come up with a name. I don't know that we can't make it the Cameraman Wes, but we'll
maybe one of these. We'll start a. I don't know if we'll start another podcast series like this where it's me and you, but maybe once a month we'll do Steel Horse Thunder cocktails.
Something to that effect. I've also thought about having Cindy, you know, the co-host Cindy. I would like to see her start doing some where she's bringing female writers on board. You know, find some of these. You know, you got Motor Maids. Motor Maids is one of the oldest out there. They were around before the Hells Angels were around.
Right.
Think about that, man.
Yeah.
Over 100 years ago, ladies riding a motorcycle. Shoot, 25 years ago, when Cindy started riding her own motorcycle, it was a rare thing then to have a female rider. a woman riding her own motorcycle was still not very common.
No.
And that was just 25 years ago.
Right.
It's much more common now, but it's still, I mean, for a while that was the fastest growing demographic in motorcycling was women riders. And I just think that would be fantastic for her to bring other ladies on board. You know, and maybe it would be more catered towards women, but still, I think they need that.
Right.
I think especially the fact that they are still a minority in the motorcycle world. They do need some extra acknowledgement and stuff like that. So I'd love to see her start doing something like that as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I do like the podcast. I like the whole format of the podcast. I like the way I like everything about it.
It's fun.
I would like to even more on the spiritual side. Hit some more spiritual stuff. Yeah, and that's the funny part, you know, because it just messes with people's minds. I tell people all the time, I don't care whether you're getting Reverend Scott, Steel Horse Thunder Scott, Sawmill Scott, Motorcycle Scott, Construction Worker Scott. I'm the same person all around.
Right.
And so, yes, I smoke cigars, and yes, I have a cocktail, or I'll drink a beer. But that doesn't change my spiritual side either.
Right.
And I think that in the time of day we live in nowadays, I think that's even more important than ever.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, we do have a ministry called Gatestormers Ministries. And so, you know, maybe it would go on maybe with more through that than it would through Steel Horse. But
yeah,
either way, I would love to be able to do something like that as well.
Yeah.
And do more than just motorcycle ministry. You know, do all types of different ministries.
Right.
I did get a commitment from Rupert.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we talked about that or not on the last podcast.
I don't think we did.
But we do have a commitment from Rupert. He is definitely going to do the podcast with us. Just not sure exactly when that will be.
And how do you pronounce his last name? Bonham?
That's how I pronounce it.
But yeah, Rupert, for those who don't know, if you've never watched Survivor, then you won't know who Rupert is. But Rupert was on season... It was within the first 5 seasons. He was on early. But the Survivor show on TV, he was on there. Did he win Survivor?
He did not win. He won the most popular.
That's what I was going to say. I knew he won something, but I can't remember what it was. But the dude is amazing. If you ever look him up, just watch interviews with him. The man is just amazing. And his drive and ambition on reaching out to help people is just... No, I don't think anybody can top him.
Nobody can. Nobody can. You know, and he uses no government money whatsoever.
Right.
Whether state or whether federal. He uses no government money at all. Does everything himself. And has a 78% success rate.
Right.
78%. Our government funded ones, if they get 2 to 3% success rate, that's big. That's good.
Yeah.
He gets 78%. And it was really cool. We did a ride for him a few weeks ago. And being able to meet some of these guys that went through his program that are now doing great, and they got a good life ahead of them. They're doing good things, and it's just like, you know, it's just super cool when you can see the fruits of your labor. You know what I mean?
Right.
Super cool. So I know we are going to do a podcast with him. He has a thing called Tuxes and Tennies, which is his big fundraiser every year. Probably do it as we get closer to that. That's usually in the fall. I think sometime in October or November.
I was going to say, I think this year it's November.
So that'll be one that'll be later on in the year. But I'd also like to bring other people on.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we got the show, the Shotes. You know, what a story they have. You know, their great-great-great-great-grandfather over from France was... They were trying to arrest him on a triple homicide, quadruple homicide, and he fled the country and ended up over in South America. And then over the years, they just kept migrating as they were getting closer and closer to him. They kept migrating until now they're up here in America and everything's been, you know, it's been all those generations later, you know, but you got Bill and Gunner, you know, a father and a son that go ride together. They go, they do all sorts of stuff together out on their motorcycles. My God, with a history like that, it's like, how do you not have them on board
Right.
and just talk about some of the stuff? They're a lot of fun to be around.
Oh, yeah.
Just a good time. Now, they're not as classy as us. They're probably going to be drinking PBRs. They're not going to be drinking their fancy cocktails. They're not going to have...
We're not going to have coconut Dr. Pepper?
No. But, yeah, I really want to talk to them. I might see if we can get them on next and put them on at the end of the month. I think that'd be really good. Dude, I don't have anything else. Your cigar's out. Mine, it went out again because I was talking, and it's still smoking good though, so I figured I'd relight her back up. A lot of times when they get this small, they start getting hot to me.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before. When I smoke a cigar, because it costs so much money, I make myself keep smoking them. And then when I finally put it down, the last 20 minutes, I haven't even enjoyed it.
Right.
And then it just kind of ruins the whole thing. And I've learned, you know what, if I smoke to there and that part starts getting hot and I don't like the taste anymore, you're getting that dirty finish that's lingering, I'm done. I put it down. That way I have a good experience with it. Instead of forcing myself to smoke the rest of it that tastes like crap.
Right.
And then go, well, that cigar tastes like crap.
I figure if I get 3/4 of it, it paid for itself. I enjoyed it. It was nice. There's no point in ruining it.
Exactly. Don't ruin the experience.
Yeah.
Well, all right, man. So again, if you want to do your own homemade humidor for about 25 bucks, get you a hygrometer, and you can get all the stuff. You can buy the whole thing.
You can get it all at Walmart.
Yeah, you can buy. You can get everything you need at Walmart, at Target, or any of those kind of big stores.
Probably get it for cheaper on Amazon.
Or on Amazon. But it's super easy to put together. Like I said, that piece of cedar wood that's in there, that's the only thing I never did do.
Right.
So forever I had it without any kind of cedar in there. But like you said, you can go to a Walmart and you can buy a cedar pucks that you put in your closets. You throw one or two of those in there. Instead of the salt shaker, now you can just buy a Bovita pack for $5. Buy 2 of those and just toss them in there. You can probably get by with just one in there. In all honesty, I would probably put 2 just to keep it on the safe side. But and like I said, I know I had 40 cigars in here at one point in time. I had a couple tins at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then I would just lay my cigars on top, and then I finally started standing them up when I started getting a lot.
Right.
And it won't hurt. You can put cigars on their ends, and it's not going to hurt them. Don't drop them in there on their ends.
Right. Don't just dump them in there.
Yeah, set them in there gently. You know, a lot of them will have the bands on the bottom, on the foot, that helps protect them.
Apparently none of mine are expensive enough for that.
I think your tobacco.
Oh yeah, it does have a little band at the bottom.
Yeah, and that's all that little band right there is for. It's to make sure it doesn't split if somebody drops that. Right. So that's it works fantastic, and you can put yourself together for about $25, and you're going to be absolutely fine.
It's a great starter kit.
You know, you don't have to have a super fancy cutter. I'll be honest, when I'm on the road, like Saturday, we did Cody's ride. Yeah. They know I smoke cigars. And one of the guys came up when we went and we started filming in the afternoon at the after party and all that. He come walking up to me. He was one of the bombs. He come walking up to me and he goes, "Hey man, I heard you were talking about cigars earlier." I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "Yeah, I said I brought some." He goes, "Well, here man, I got one for you right here." So, you know, I smoked one of his cigars. Well, I didn't have a cutter on me. I had stuff back in the car and everything because I do carry a travel humidor like as you do. Yeah. You know, if you're on a motorcycle, you want a travel humidor or
the hard case.
Case, so they don't get beat up in the saddlebag. And dude, I take the foot and I take my fingernail and you peel off part of the foot. That's all you got to do to smoke a cigar. And I use my fingernail half the time anymore. You don't have to have a fancy cutter. Right. You can buy cheap ones, the cheap guillotine cutters. You can get those at any smoke shop for $3, $5.
Just keep in the car to Yeah.
So you can get into it super cheap. The cigars that you fill this with can cost more money.
Yes.
You know, for a long time.
There are plenty of cheap cigars that are very good. But once you get going into them and you learn more about them, you're like, okay, well, I want to step this up, or I want to try this one. It's going to get a little expensive.
It gets more expensive. It sure does. But I still have a box. I just got a new box of my Mark Twain cigars. Yeah, that's a 6-inch cigar, 60 ring gauge.
Those are big cigars.
Cigar. Big, what they call the Gordos.
Yeah.
You know, but I can get a box of those when they're on sale. I can get a box of them for $65.
Right.
You know, I know all said and done, I'm paying about $3.25, about $3.25 a stick. You know, Factory Smokes makes some.
I like the Factory Smokes. Those ones are really
There's
good.
quite a few of those, and that's what I kept in here most of the time.
Yeah.
And then I just started buying. I got into some of the more expensive cigars and trying different ones that from different regions and stuff like that. And so now, like I said, I like variety, so I keep a variety of them. Some of my cigars are going to be $20 cigars, and some of them are going to be $3 cigars.
Right. And
everything in between. That part can get expensive.
Yes.
Getting started with it, not expensive at all.
No.
All right, man. What do you say we wrap things up, and hopefully we'll have the show tased for the next go around.
I got a few people I'm going to talk to about lining up. So
yeah, like I said, we're going to have Rosano and them. Hopefully that's fireworks.
I hope, because that sounded like a gun.
Hopefully that's fireworks out there. It is July 3rd.
It is July 3rd.
So hopefully that was fireworks.
I'll give them that.
Coming from the neighbor's house. Sure, he's like, I said I wanted dinner ready when I got home. That'll teach her. I guarantee she has dinner ready next time he gets home. All right, man. Well, that being said, what do you say we get out of here just in case it was live fire?
Right. Guys, make sure you check out Badass Beard Care. Good company, American made, veteran owned.
Maybe they're over there shooting. All right, yeah, quick shout out. Ladendorf, Fregiato, and Bigler, personal injury lawyers here in Indianapolis. Love the support that you guys give us and what you do for everybody. We got Krambos, custom paint, Harley mechanics, accessories, everything you need. Super cool looking old Texaco gas station that he converted over, and now he's got a big ass warehouse in the back where he's got his paint room and all that stuff. And then of course War Riders Heating and Air. They got us warm in the wintertime when our furnace broke down. They took care of us. And all right, man, Wes, thanks. It was a lot of fun.
It was.
Enjoyed having a cigar and a cocktail with you. Now I got to go back to work.
All right.
All right, we'll see you, man.
See you.